Today we were celebrating Black History Month, and we were sharing reflections, thinking about the future, and recognizing all the contributions the Black community makes to the world.
Being Black means to embrace the rich history and culture of African Americans. Furthermore, being Black is celebrating the achievements of being African American and recognizing the roles of Blacks in America.
This year's celebration had a theme of past, present, and the future. So much of Black history had been forgotten or omitted, and I think this gives us a chance to celebrate the contributions of Black Americans here in the country.
I wish to highlight the man that's known as the father of Black History Month, Dr. Carter Godwin Woodson. He's the second ever African American to earn his doctorate degree from Howard University in 1912. Throughout his studies, he noticed that the roles of African Americans were either misrepresented or missing altogether from U.S. history. So determined to bring African American history front and center, he founded the Association for the Study of African American Life and History.
Maynita Agnes Cass was a civil rights activist. Mrs. Cass helped women in voting registration after the passage of the 19th Amendment. She was the only female charter member to ABCD.
Essie Coleman was the first Black to ever earn an aviation license on June 15, 1921. Her first appearance was in the air show on September 3, 1922 at Curtis Field. The show billed Bessie as the world's greatest woman flyer. Bessie refused to perform unless the audiences were desegregated and everyone attending used the same gates.
Frederick Douglass, W.E. Du Bois, Booker Washington, coming out of the Civil War, these were the leaders. I look to Martin Luther King, who led his people with the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act, and all the other things that got put together with his leadership. We all picked up the cudgel and gone on.
Michelle Obama has always stressed education. You have to stay in school. You have to get a degree, because that's the one thing no one can take away from you. It's your education and it's worth your investment. And that's what we want to do. We want to help our young people to see that by studying hard and investing in themselves, they can build that confidence that they need to become whatever it is that they want to become.
The leading voice of contemporary American fiction belongs to Toni Morrison. In 1970, she published her book, The Bluest Eye. Set in Ohio at the end of the Depression, The Bluest Eye is the story of a young Black girl who prays for blue eyes. I chose to speak about Toni Morrison specifically because of The Bluest Eye. Well, I read it as an 18-year-old at an HBCU. And so why I really appreciate it was that it gave me a space to feel comfortable to talk about self-love and self-hate as a woman of color. And so I appreciate Ms. Morrison just for being a voice for the Black experience.
Now we're going to have a word into our future. So much of what we're doing is not only about today, but where we're going, not only as a people, but as a nation.
As adults, we teach our children, our students, and our mentees that when they grow up, they will change the world. Yet, today's generation, they don't buy into the idea of when I'm old enough. Today's generation is a generation of why not now?
Black History Month is a time for us to celebrate the exceptional folks among us that we recognize. But I really believe that it's in the spirit of the everyday incidents, right, of our lives, of living our lives, that is really what keeps us moving forward into the future. I get the opportunity at this point to invite your voices into this conversation.
How I believe we can move Black future forward is everybody, coming together in a sense of understanding each other, just understanding where the youth come from, because we all go through different hard times and it's hard for people to move forward on their own.
I think one of the reasons this was important to me as well is because we always celebrate others. And we never take enough time to celebrate ourselves.
As we move forward, what I continue to do is really just advocate on the needs, on the hopes and the dreams that we have.
What is the narrative of Black people? There are so many narratives, some created by us, some created for us by others. But the one consistent narrative that I've seen throughout our history is resiliency. I just ask that anyone in here try to continue to not only give your own energy to make yourself continue to be resilient, but take some of that energy and project it to someone else. We're here because we recognize greatness from the past, but we also recognize the need to bring greatness to the future.